All right, it is 6:30 on November 13th of Sustainability Committee meeting. And the first item, or the second item actually, is citizens' comments. And we have our esteemed Joseph Riegel here to address us. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you so much. For those that don't know me, I was part of the Sustainability Committee for 3 years. So, lots of familiar faces. This is a great group. They're accomplishing a lot. For the visitors, thank you for coming. I would like to talk about a landfill. And Alex has provided me some good information, which you're probably familiar with. At current rates, our landfill will be closed in 23.1 years. And the trash landfill that from Farmers Branch is about 1% of the total. So think of it this way. If 1% just Farmers Branch is going to be used for 23.1 years, what if we could extend and do another 1% for 23.1 years after that, and then another 1%, another 1%, if we were the only ones using it? 123.1 years, 2,310 years. If you want to extend the lifespan of the landfill, it's 2,300 years. Now, maybe if I'm only half wrong, we still got 1,000 years there. Now, I don't know. One reason why we're only using 1% is that other cities are using 99%. And there's some incentives for us. We get some revenues for the next 23 years, and other cities are happy too. But guess what? In year 24, we get $0 of revenues. So for 23 years, we get revenues. Then beginning of year 24, we don't get anything. And the way I'm looking at the land, and we have contracts, so I don't know whether anything can be done. But I should like for people to take another look at it. Yeah, Alex probably knows, Shane knows. But if we could take another look and somehow get out of the contracts we currently have, then we're just automatically going to extend the life of the landfill. And if we could do this, the landfill is not a landfill, it's a gold mine. Because guess what? We're the only city in this area that's going to have a landfill for the next 2,000 years. And even at some point in the future, we wanted to get other people involved. We could double, triple, quadruple, 10 times as much as we're getting right now. So I just put that bug in your ears. Let's get our city council to take a look at that. Councilman Roman did asked the financial department to do a study that if we did a 10-cent tax rate reduction, what would that mean to the city of Farmers Branch? Let's do the same thing here at the landfill. Let's try and get out of that contract. And as much as you're trying to do with composting, this will extend the lifespan of our landfill. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Jim. And I'm going to turn to the next item that we have, and that is receive an update from the Dallas Area Rapid Transit staff on their agency sustainability and ridership. So first of all, thank you all for making it out tonight. We really appreciate it. We know it's taking away probably from your families and dinner. So we really want to say thank you for meeting with us.
Thank you for inviting us. So do you advance?
Yeah, I'll just advance.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm Yolanda Harrison. I'm the AVP at Dallas for Sustainability and Facility Planning. And like I said, thank you for inviting us. It's a great opportunity for us to meet members of our community and talk about what we're doing at DART. We're earning it, but while we get started, I'd like to sort of introduce the team first, and then we can talk. Then I start the presentation. That's okay.
Yeah.
My name is Ed Eugene. I'm a service planner with DART, and Farmers Branch happens to be one of the cities that I cover in my line of work. So happy to be here and discuss what we do in Farmers Branch.
Great.
My name is Patricio Gallo. I'm a project manager in facilities, capital planning, and I do mobility and sustainability planning.
And then Eddie Martinez, Ernie.
Yep.
Ernie is also in the capital planning group, and he does a lot of the core, like our bus routes and trying to optimize them. He'll be back, I'm sure. Okay, so with that, we get started. So I think everyone here is familiar with DART, but we always like to just do a sort of a little level setting. We do cover 700 square miles. So we have 13 member cities. We have 65 light rail stations, 10 commuter rail, over 7,000 bus stops, 30 GO Link zones, and all is supported by 3,800 employees. We just recently, I believe it was last year, maybe the year before, celebrated our 40th anniversary. Excited about that. Right. So I'm here to talk about sustainability. Like I said, I cover sustainability out of capital planning, and a lot of things you don't think about sustainability. Actually, I like talking to this group because it's gonna be a different presentation because y'all know a lot of it. Still, it's sort of a standard presentation we like to give with level setting and where we are with sustainability. So the definition, I actually did see your sustainability plan on your website. It was very comprehensive, great job. We're actually updating our sustainability plan this year, and we'll hopefully have that published by the end of the year. But I always like to start with sort of defining what sustainability is. And I did see our definition matches very closely to yours. So basically just meeting the needs of the present without compromising the future generations' needs. So that's what we sort of look at for sustainability. In public transit, that has a lot to do with air quality and transportation, right? So again, I'm sure a lot of y'all know in this room, transportation is one of the leading impacts of air quality. And North Texas region has an air quality issue, so we are working to try to do what we can to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve the air quality. And of course, one of the best ways we would like to see people do that is get out of their cars and out of public transit, because that can help reduce. One 120-mile commuter who transfer if they commute alone in their car and they transfer to public transit can save annually 4,800 pounds of greenhouse gas emissions. That's about a 10% reduction. So those are the kind of things that we like to just remind people that it does make a difference. But to do that, we want to provide sustainable transportation. And one of the things we'll talk about is how we do that. Again, I haven't gone through your plan. I see a lot of the same, similar approaches. It is a holistic approach. But for us, as a transportation agency, we focus on providing clean, safe, reliable transportation. And we think that's what gets people riding our system. Sustainability is not new here at DART. We've been focused on sustainability for a long time. APTA, which is our industry agency, American Public Transportation Agency, they have what they call the Sustainability Commitment Program, where they encourage all agencies, so this is all transit agencies in the country, to sign up for sustainability and make a commitment to improving sustainability in there. We joined that in 2011, and we started our first sustainability plan in 2012. And we'll talk a little about that. We updated it in 2019, and as I said, we're in the process of updating it again this year. We'll have that published, hopefully by the end of the year. Along the way, we've done a lot of things. We have transitioned from diesel and LNG buses. We did that in 2017. We actually started it around 2013, but by 2017, we had 100% of our fleet on what we call CNG, or compressed natural gas. So that, is definitely better for the environment, less greenhouse gas emissions. And then we also use what we call renewable natural gas. So that's natural gas from biogenetics, it's like bio waste or disposable organic waste. I guess it's the best way to use it. We've done several other things. We have 7 electric buses. So we have about 600 buses in our fleet right now. All of them except for 7 are CNG buses, but we do have 7 electric buses also that we run. We have been working with our different member cities. Dallas-Fort Worth has a Clean City Act that we work with them. We work with our North Central Texas COG, Council of Government. And again, focus on air quality and improvement and what we can do as a transit agency to help improve the air quality in the region. Some other things we're gonna talk about today is, our corridor improvements. We do have a zero emission bus plan, but right now we actually are getting ready to purchase our next round of CNG buses. And there's several reasons for that. As we look at the electric bus industry, I don't know how well you follow that, but it has sort of shrunk. We don't have a lot of vendors right now. And to start covering 700 square miles, we have some very long right now. What we have seen is the electric buses don't handle the routes we have as well right now. And the infrastructure is not there. It's definitely something we still plan to get to, but for now, we think CNG is the best way. And CNG has come a long way. Their transmissions are even more energy efficient, less emissions than they were 12 years ago when we bought them. So we've seen a lot of improvement on natural gas.
Are there any companies that are doing like hydrogen buses or anything like that?
So there are, and there's a few agencies that are piloting them. We haven't piloted yet, but that is something we are looking at, right? So like I said, right now, our plan is to purchase for our next fleet, because our fleet is, like I said, we started that fleet rollout in 2013, we finished in 2017. That fleet's about 12, 15 years old. So we're gonna renew that fleet with CNG, but as we do that, we will be looking at what other opportunity technologies are there for us to explore.
You guys renew the whole fleet at the same time, or is it like sections, like?
So it's about a 3-year process, but it is basically at the same time. It'll be one contract, we'll renew. We don't, the vendors can't make them, and we can't deploy them all at once. So it's about a 3-year process, but it is our entire fleet. Okay. So again, our sustainability plan, like y'all, is a holistic approach. So we don't just look at the environment, but we also look at the community and the agency. So we look at how can we enhance our community, the lives of our customers in the community, while also making sure that we invest in our agency, right? We got to be financially strong. We got to be safe. We have to be an agency that's going to be around for another 40 years so we can make a difference. But then also, what's the impact on the planet? So in 2018, we sort of developed this new framework where we broke out the 3 pillars: community, agency, and planet. And so in our 2024 plan, we stick with this model and this framework. We just updated it for some of our new goals and action items. And feel free, like I said, ask me questions along the way. So sort of where we target. So for our community, we work a lot with small businesses and diversity and women businesses. So we have what we call a small business academy where we help small business do business with DART. We also do a lot of community engagement, get out, talk to people. We also talk about our Go Lead program. I think I was just talking to you now. That's one of our programs where we try, and Ed's gonna talk about it a little more, but where we try to meet the needs if we don't have a fixed bus route in the area. How can we fit that need? Safety and security, again, one of our main things is to make sure we provide convenient route, but also a safe and secure route to our riders, because we hear from our riders and we hear that's one of their concerns. From an agency standpoint, we talk about engaging our employees and empowering them. So make sure they understand their role in here and how they can help serve the community. And then, of course, on the planet aspect, we look for air quality, water. We do use a lot in our landscaping, a lot of plant tolerant, water resistant plants and native plants to reduce watering. And then we have a couple of waste programs, that we have. And when we talk about there, the electric buses do have 30% fewer parts than a traditional bus, so that helps with waste. Another thing, this is more of a recent, the top one is, we've started doing in some of our stations now. We partnered with Restorative Farms. I don't know if you ever worked with them, but they are a nonprofit that provide community gardens, and they'll go out in the community and help people start a garden. They work with farmer markets and local people who have fresh produce, and we sell farmer markets at several of our stations. And so we have one community garden at Hatcher Station that's done really well. The community helps keep us going and produce it. And we're looking to expand that and add some more community gardens at our station where we have space and where the community is interested in. Transit orient development is, it's been around for a while. We've been doing that basically since our beginning, but it's something we really are leaning into now and want to try to expand and grow, similar to your former branch, station. It has, resident apartments, you know, right next to this within walking distance. And those are things that we encourage businesses and, residents to be close to our station, walkable, and again, helping with people being able to get around and either not need a car or not need it as often. Another pilot we started in 2023 was EV chargers. So we have 2 electric chargers at 2 of our, we have actually 4, 2 at each station. One at our Illinois station and one at our Glen Heights station. So that was a pilot. We did get a grant from, in working with COGS, Council of Government, to install these. They've been installed for a little over a year. Patricia has monitored the usage. They are being well used. And so this is something that we're going to use is to develop an EV charger strategy throughout, and see what other stations can we put, where's the interest, some lessons learned from these and, how can we do it better?
So like commuters will come, like they'll come, you park in the lot, take the train downtown to work.
Right, and you
Okay.
can charge your car. Right, while you're there. Another thing we're real proud of is our police headquarters. Our police headquarters, which we took over in 2011, we remodeled it. It is a historic facility. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, but it's also a LEED Platinum building. It does present some maintenance challenges, but it's also very exciting. People actually come in. We work with the Historical Society to make sure any changes we do, any upgrades we do, don't impact the historic nature of the facility. And it's really been sort of a highlight, something we like to highlight and say that we are proud of, because if you go in and you can see the original wall, we really sort of built a building inside a building. So you can see a lot of the original walls and structure of that building and cracks and stuff. So it's something, and there's a train cab in the lobby. There was one of the original, at least 100-year, old train cab there too. So it's something we're proud of. Another thing that we've done, and last year we signed a 10-year electricity contract that is now 100% renewable energy sources. And again, this team probably knows a lot about Texas has a lot of renewable sources between wind and solar. And so we signed a contract. So with our light rail system, we do use a lot of electricity, but they're able to provide us renewable sources for the next 10 years. And again, being able to do that displaces, greenhouse gas emissions.
Have you ever thought of putting solar panels on the roof of your train? Because it's been shown, especially in Europe, that the buses, they can generate enough electricity to do cooling and heating. Have you ever thought of that?
No, I don't know if we've looked at it on our fleet. We definitely look at it like on our bus shelters, and we have it on our bus shelters today, and we're looking at it for our facilities. But that's an interesting concept, actually putting it on our fleet. I don't know if that's something we looked into, but that's something I can ask about.
The car Prius uses solar
Right,
to generate electricity.
right. So that's definitely something I can look into. Like I said, actually on the fleet, I hadn't heard of that before. So. Another thing that we're doing is LED lighting. So we're retrofitting all of our facilities to be 100% LED. And one of the things we've seen that, like I said, not only is it better for the environment, but it also helps save money. In one of our parking garages, we actually noticed a 50% reduction in our electricity bill once we switched to 100% LED. So again, sort of going with the good for the agency and good for the environment. So things we look at. I believe it was in 2022, maybe 21, the FDA requested all transit agencies look at developing a climate action plan. So again, come up with measurable goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So over 168 agencies signed up. DART was one of them. We created our plan. We have some reduction goals and targets that we aim to achieve, again, to make a significant impact on reducing greenhouse gas emissions. These include by 2030 decreasing our greenhouse gas emissions by 25%. Now, as I just told you, we are going with CNG buses again, but the next round of CNG buses we have found is a lot more energy efficient than the transmission that even the ones we have today. So let's see a reduction with that. On our commuter rail, now commuter rail is still diesel, but and our commuter rail is even older, it's like 30, 40 years old, but we're getting ready to replace that. And again, the engines and everything they have now, a lot more energy efficient. So between our new CNG buses, replacing the engines on our commuter rail, and there's a process of commuter rails because they are so large in an idling process. We have a new project we're looking at to reduce idling on the commuter rail. So between those three things, mainly, we believe we can get a 25% reduction from where we are today in greenhouse gas emissions. The second, so now again, we wrote this plan in 22, and we had a goal of getting to 100% renewable electricity by 2035, but we were fortunate enough to have the contract come up last year. So we actually have beat this goal, and we are 100% renewable electricity today for our facilities and light rail system. Our third goal, going to zero emission technologies, our facility. That's something, similar to what I just talked about, the LED lighting. We also put in motion sensors. So anything we can do to help reduce the impact. From a water standpoint, we look at recycling the water that we use to clean our vehicles, and recycle water on that. So we got several goals in our sustainability plan. We have to help us make our facilities and our operations more energy efficient and more sustainable. Let's see. And then of course, just increasing ridership, right? Anything we can do to get people riding our system and out of single occupancy cars will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the region. And some of the things that Ed's gonna talk about is some of the improvements we're making. Ernie and Patricia work on improving our routes, making them seamless, making them more streamlined, making them more convenient and faster for people. All of those are things we think will help increase ridership and therefore be better for the planet. Okay, so I talked a little about solar panels. Right now, we do not have solar panels on our facilities, but we do want to pilot that. And there's something, as we get ready, one of the other things Patricia and I are working on is just renovating all of our facilities. Again, I told you we celebrated 40 years, so most of our facilities are 40 years old. So they do for a renovation. And so one of the things, as we go to renovate them, we're looking for more energy efficient HVAC systems. How do we improve that? Can we put solar panels on the roof? How would that work? What are the pros and cons? So we're looking in the next year, 2 years to do a pilot with one of our new facilities. Maybe the facility at Walnut Hill, maybe a different one, but what can we learn from solar panel on a facility? How well does it help? What are some of the challenges? So, so we can make sure as we get ready to roll that out, we understand the benefits and the challenges. Another thing that we're looking at that I'm really excited about is called Mobility Hub. I don't know, are y'all familiar with the term Mobility Hub? Some or somewhere. So what we call a Mobility Hub is the opportunity to reimagine transit spaces that we have today into a catalyst for mobility, right? So it's not just the train or the bus facility, but also the first and last mile, so maybe we put scooters there, maybe we have bikes there, maybe it's car sharing, how do people get to the first and last mile? And then what other things can we do to enhance the community? So we have a program now where we sort of assessing all of our stations. Right now, especially since the pandemic, we see our parking lots are very underutilized, so we got a lot of space. So we want to see how can we reimagine our space, And I talked about the community garden. We talked about even things like maybe a walking trail. A lot of our stations, or at least several of our stations, are near something where the city, and I noticed y'all had a trail coming into this, has a trail going in downtown Dallas. They in the Deep Ellum area, they're doing what they call a cultural trail. out in Longview. I don't know if you heard of the Loop, but you know, that's another big trail that's going around Dallas. So if we have areas, or stations near there, can we take part of our parking lot that right now at best is about 30% utilized? Some of them are less, 10% utilized, but we don't want to take all of it, obviously, or even half of it, but we could take 20% of it and repurpose that land into something like community garden, a bike repair area, a pickleball field, a soccer field, something the community, a pocket park where people can just, um, socialize and enjoy the outdoors, especially if it's along a trail. If we can do that, and make people more attracted to our station and hopefully, ride our system better, that's something we definitely want to look at. Now, no two mobility hubs are going to be the same because they are very community related. So what we like to do is we work with a company, a consulting company that's helping us design it. We have some guidelines. So we sort of have different typologies depending on what's around that area. Then we say, okay, what kind of hub can this be? What can we put there? What kind of amenities can we put there? Are people interested in this area? EV chargers? Are they interested in scooters or bike racks? What's the interest of the community? What's the interest around what's sort of around the community? And then how can we repurpose some of our land to attract people to our station, but also enhance the community?
We have a new Star Center going in, right, across the street from
Yeah.
the station, so.
That's true.
And the little seeds that.
Yeah, I mean, so exactly. But that's what we want to sort of look at what's coming in, what's near the station, and what can we do to enhance that. So yeah, no, definitely good point. Good point. So with that, this is sort of like our last page. We do have on our website .org. We have our sustainability snapshot. Soon we will have our sustainability plan. But we encourage people to go out there. We actually going to be updating this website along with our plan here soon. But we do publish, sort of where we are. We encourage people to go out there and look at it, give us feedback on it. If you have ideas or things you would like for us to consider, we welcome the opportunity because we do. We want to work with the community, and we want to share what we're doing and see how we can share that with others. The good thing about serving 13-member cities, we learn from each other. It's something that's going on somewhere else. We can say, hey, well, this is working here. It might work here also. And the same for you. If you hear things or you hear things with other transit agencies, they putting solar panels on buses or anything, we welcome that kind of information, that kind of feedback. So with that, I think I get the turn it over.
May I?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So a couple of things. So the first one was, I saw that you have the electric parking spots, but oftentimes you don't need to park that long to charge your vehicle. So what kind of a mechanism do you have in place to ensure people aren't leaving their vehicle there all day?
So that's a good point. And that's one of the things that we're monitoring. So we don't yet. This is the pipe. You sort of want to see what is happening to people or cars there, 8 hours or 12. And so with us, it's a little different, right? Though, because she said a lot of people get on and they ride to work and they ride back. So we understand that their car may have to be there 8 hours because they've abandoned it. So we haven't looked at that. We are working one of our mobility hubs is at the University of Texas at Dallas, and they have quite a few EV chargers. So we like to learn from other people. They are coming up with some things, the way they charge people, how long they're there and stuff. So right now, we don't have a mechanism for that, but it is one of the things that we are aware of and some of the information we gather from our pilots. And like I said, we try to work with other people who have EV chargers to see what they're doing.
Makes sense. And then another thing is regenerative braking. Does the new fleet of buses use regenerative braking for like lights and marquees or something like that?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to get back with you on that. Let someone else know. Yeah. So I have to talk to our fleet engineers. I can find out.
Because I like CNG, but if we could make use of the brake, because I hear the brakes.
Yeah. Right.
If we
Right.
could make some power generation, I think that could be useful.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's definitely something we can look into.
And then I know for your LED conversion, Dallas College has been doing a lot of that too. And we've also noticed a lot of maintenance reduction. Have y'all kept track of that? Because that's a really good way to like push those things internal to your structure.
Right. So I don't know. I have to talk to our maintenance. I actually used to be part of the maintenance team, so I know they definitely last longer. So I don't know how y'all did it, but we did sort of two different ways, and again, sort of a lesson learned. Some of them we just changed the bulb. Sometimes we change the picture in the bulb. Changing the picture in the bulb is better.
Yeah.
So we learned that. So some of them we will have to go back and update the picture also. And really some of the later ones, I think we learned that along the way. Some of the later ones we went and did both of them. But yeah, so I know we definitely seen a reduction in maintenance on the ones that we did the whole, kit and caboodle on.
And then, so this one is maybe a touchier one,
Mhm.
but restrooms. Has there been any talk about how these could be implemented in a responsible way? Because I know that's a big talking point, but it's a difficult one.
So you mean like the restrooms at our transit centers?
Right.
And when you say responsible, meaning just make sure they're available and clean for people who want to use them?
Yeah, that they're being used in a,
Right.
what they're
instead of
intended,
people
yeah.
just sleeping in them and stuff. Right. No, I get it. And so, as I said, two things we're doing. We're looking at all of our infrastructure and modernizing it. So yes, we are looking at that, not necessarily as part of sustainability, but as part of our system modernization plan. So, just like I said, we're looking at renovating all of our facilities. And actually, and maybe I'll send Alex an email, but one of the things we're doing now is our transit, we're giving our customer surveys. And I'll make sure y'all get the link to that because we would love to hear from different things. So like you said, one of the things we're asking is how many people use the restroom? How many people really need the restroom, especially if we can increase the frequency of some of our trains and people aren't at stations. You now have to wait 30 minutes for a train or a bus. Would you want a restroom? Is that critical? Is that not critical? And then, like you said, how to make them more efficient. So there's a couple of things on the restroom side, right? Making them there for the people who need them and not people sleeping on them, keeping them safe and secure, but also keeping them sustainable. Some of them are old, not the best use of water, so stuff like that. So yes, we are looking at all of that. And we also are looking at upgrading our design guidelines. So as we find these deficiencies or areas that we can improve, put them update our design guidelines too, so that it stays that way, if we build new facilities and things like that. So that is definitely something we're looking at.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I had a question about stops. So like here in Farmers Branch, there's not a bus coming on all the routes every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And, I would not want to have to stand in the rain for 20 minutes to wait for the bus or when it's 100 degrees outside with no shelter or any kind of protection. And I know in some places there are little shelters but in other there's not. And with such a large area to cover, I'm sure that's difficult with maintenance and upkeep and all that stuff. But is there any kind of conversation about how that could impact ridership?
Absolutely. So another, and there's a lot of topics I could have brought, I didn't know which one, but we actually are redesigning our bus shelters and we're looking at our what do we call our strategy or our specs for where we put a shelter and where we don't. So, and this is another area we have customer surveys, so we do welcome your feedback, but it's on what the shelter's gonna look like, So again, our shelters are 20 years old. So we have new shelters we're rolling out. If you go on our website, you can see, so we have about 5 now that are piloting, and we want feedback on those. And then also just what you said, where do we put them? So the good thing I like about our new shelters is we got different types. We have what we call like a mini shelter. They're really either 1 or 2 people. It's real small, but it's good for areas that like maybe it doesn't have a high ridership, but it is an area. Yeah, they have a longer wait, and we need to put something there that they definitely give you a resting spot. The minis, I don't know if they protect against the wind and rain because they don't have side. They really are just sort of like a little seat and a pole and stuff. But they do have covers and stuff and then we have some bigger shelters that do have the whole, protection and everything. So that's a long way answer. Yes, we are definitely looking at that. And I would encourage feedback, right? So we have 2 surveys we're going to either have rolled out or be rolling out shortly. And it's on our transit centers and how people use that and our bus shelters and how people like that. And what do you think about the new one? So definitely provide us feedback on that. And, you know, I encourage you, even if you have a stop that you think, you know, hey, this stop doesn't have, a shelter there and I use it a lot and I would like one.
Yeah.
Send us a message, we will look at it, you know, because those are the kind of things that we're looking at, because we, like you said, we want to make sure we're serving the customer at the needs they have. Welcome feedback.
Thank you. And you said those surveys are just on the main website?
I would have to go look, and I like the transit center one, I know we just started it, so there's a link, and I'm gonna find out the link for both of them and send them to Alex and you can get them out to everybody, yeah. Do that. Okay?
Thank you.
And so just to follow up on the stops and the shelters, a lot of the times, the shelters are based on, again, like she said, ridership. So if there's, you know, 3 people a day at a stop, you know, we want to get those 3 people, but, you know, you got to look at, you know, there's got to be concrete put down and all these other, you know, expenses on our end, to actually build a shelter and, you know, the upkeep of, you know, having a trash can there and everything else. So, a lot of it is kind of based on ridership. I get a lot of those questions, which is why I'm able to answer. And I work with somebody directly that oversees these shelters, and a lot of it is really just based off of ridership. And so, if a stop is not getting a lot of love, most of the time you won't see a shelter there. I think it's great what they're doing with the mini shelters and stuff like that, because it really does help in especially situations where there's longer routes and you gotta wait. So it's a tough balance, you know, to try to have the shelters there, because you do want to, you know, keep your people protected, the riders protected and everything, but you know, there's the cost of everything as well. So
Normally what we do is we put a bench when we have 25 riders a day. And that's it. And for the shelters, 50. But we have a point system that if the stop is near to a facility, let's say elderly hospital, something that is community involved, then we give 10 points for that. So essentially we have 40 riders plus 10 points for the facility that will make 50 and the stop can have a shelter.
I guess my thinking is that's great for people who are already using the bus. But if you're trying to entice people who have cars to start using the bus, I'm not gonna sit at a bus stop or stand at a bus stop in 105-degree weather for 15 minutes to go to the grocery store if I can just go hop in my car and go do it. So that was the motivation for my question. I mean, it's kind of how do you entice people who otherwise might have other transportation?
Yeah.
I understand it's important to address the population that this is their primary transportation, but if you're trying to bring new people along, it seems like something that might be worth more.
Right. And that
robust
is what,
conversation.
exactly, and that is what we're looking at, for, again, to encourage people to ride it.
Right.
And when I talk about safe, clean, and reliability is convenience too.
And frequency also.
Right.
Regarding that, the biggest, when I was living in Chicago, one of the biggest game changers they implemented while I was living there was the bus and train tracker app on your phone. And talk about increasing ridership, increasing people wanting to ride the bus, waiting for the bus. With that bus tracker app, I was able to look at it. I could see the next bus is going to be here in 10 minutes. It takes me 5 minutes to walk to the bus stop. All I have to do is wait for 5 minutes. Perfect. And 105 degrees. Okay, well, there's going to be a bus in 15 minutes. Okay, it only takes it, you know, takes me 5 minutes to get there. I'll leave in 5 minutes instead of leaving now and having to wait. The system that's there now is like text whatever to this number and not convenient. People don't do it. People don't want to do it. And when just trying to implement an app on the phone, it made because if you're sitting somewhere, let's say I just wanted to catch a bus down from, I live right just like by Four Corners over there. I just want to go down to Mustang Station, one of the restaurants and the bars down there. And
I don't want to drive, but, you know, it's just a little late, I don't feel like walking.
But if you knew when the bus.
If I knew when the bus was coming, I could go there. And then while I'm there, at wherever I am, when's the bus coming back? Instead of going and just like sitting and hoping,
Right,
you would know. All the buses do have GPS, correct?
right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
So-
with that, it shouldn't be too big of because I mean, I'm guessing all the buses are already tracked at the central location.
Absolutely.
So to be able to platform that
Mhm.
for your average bus rider person who would, even someone who is well-meaning, I should take the bus more, so I don't have to drive so much. You don't have that now. It's kind of discouraging, especially if it's not as busy a route.
Right, so there's a couple things we're doing. So with these new shelters, the shelters will have real-time information. So like you said, as you going to, if you're in the area, you're walking by, you're like, should I take the bus? How long do I have to wait? So that is something we are incorporating into our new bus shelter so that it's the next bus arriving in 7 minutes or something. So you have that if you're in the area. Now, I'm not familiar,
So
guys.
we have a Go Pass
That's what they do. Go
that
ahead.
does exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I have the Go Pass app.
yeah,
but-
so I catch the bus every time I go into the office. I catch the 308 from Northwest Planning Park and Ride. And so what you can do is, because I'm looking every time I leave work, okay, where's my bus? When you go to a stop, you can look at your Go Pass app. I think you have to turn on your location or whatever, but it will show you a stop that is your nearest stops. I actually pulled it up while we've been in the meeting just to see. We have stops right here on Alpha Road for 227. And so you can always see where you're at and where a stop is near you, or where a train station is near you. Or, you know, let's say you're downtown and you want to come to Farmers Branch. You have the ability to plant that information in the Go Pass app, and it'll tell you, hey, you need to catch bus this and this to get there, and you might need to catch a Go Link to finish your ride. You know, so it does. Go Pass it does have those capabilities. There is sometimes, you know, some quirky things with technology, and so you may not always get a GPS location on every vehicle, but most of the time it's very accurate.
So does it show you, because I'm looking right now, does it show you where the bus is?
It'll show you, yes, where the bus is.
Show like a dock?
It's like a map.
Real-time
And
information.
it'll show like the dot and basically a bus number on it.
I see the bus, is that on like plan or? You'll have to show me afterwards.
Yeah, I'll be glad.
Maybe we
Yeah,
should
I use it.
Yeah, the bus is very close.
Mhm.
I actually took a track down to Austin from my house. And there's like 2 bus stations really close to where I live. And I timed my walk based on the wrong one. And so I was going to the other one and I saw it leaving. And it was probably 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And I had luggage with me. And so I saw it leave, but then I went to the Go Link option and I had an Uber driver hit me up, which was included with the $2 fare
Yes.
to take me to the Mustang station down there, and then rode down to Amtrak and then took that all the way to Austin.
Yeah.
Which was a good experience. But then whenever I came back, I realized I don't know how to ride buses because I got confused, got on the wrong bus, and around Harry Hines, I was like, "Where's this bus going?"
So,
They were like, "No, it's the same bus number and color, but in a different direction." And that's where I got really confused. And I've ridden buses and trains in like Amsterdam and other places and didn't feel that confused whenever I was trying to take the buses in particular here. Sorry, I also have one quick question about the natural gas. I know that natural gas is more,
I had that, yeah.
has less GHG
Mhm.
when it's burned than like fossil fuels. But when it leaks into the atmosphere because of the methane content, it's much more destructive and has a lot more impact negatively. So I'm just wondering, with the new buses and with the fueling system, this is probably a question for the maintenance and engineering teams. But I'm just kind of like wondering, what are the safeguards in place to prevent any sort of leakage of natural gas that could potentially be more harmful over time. Especially with some of these being as old as they are, which makes me feel good that we're getting new
Right.
buses. Probably don't have that, but it would be interesting to know what sort of safeguards are in place to prevent that there. Because I know a lot of the talk about, escaping gases and stuff is usually in the transmission line and everything, but I'm sure there's something to be said, yeah. I'm sure that there's something to be said about how it's being managed within the final delivery of it to, the vehicle that's consuming that as power.
Okay, no, that's a good point. It's something we can look at.
Yeah.
I know at the station, CNG stations, I used to have some responsibility for those. There are safety mechanisms.
Yeah.
Very
Like monitoring and. stuff
right,
like that.
right. There's some very strict requirements we have
Yeah.
to monitor and all those. Don't know as much about on the bus or like at the SU part.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I think for the sake of time, let's get to the
Yeah.
ridership portion.
Sorry.
Great question.
Like,
We need to have a workshop.
Yeah.
I was really excited to hear some kids.
Well, no, we're glad.
This is
I'm
great.
serious.
Right.
All righty. So I'll talk about some of the services here that we have in Farmers Branch. Of course, our bus, our rail system, and as he mentioned that he was able to use our building system. And we also have paratransit here. And our paratransit is something that's can be used mostly you will see like your seniors maybe using it more because it's the vehicles have the access for wheelchairs and things like that. The buses do too, but as far as scheduling rides that may get them to their different appointments or whatever their needs are, the paratransit is a good option for that. Okay, so let's talk about our bus service. So bus service in Farmers Branch, we have 5 routes that run across the Farmers Branch area. Route 200 and 202, you can see they're over in the northeast section of it, just a small portion. Staying up here. Oh no, it's all good. So 200 and 202 are right here, but they just cover a small section. Your main routes in Farmers Branch are 233 that run down Josie, and then 227 that run along Valley View. And so your 229, it runs at the top here, so it covers the top section of it. And so those are your main routes. Those are the routes that we look at that we get ridership from for our Farmers Branch area. So the frequency in all those routes is 40-minute peak and 60-minute off peak. So looking at the ridership, your total boardings for fiscal year 24, in Q1, there were 58,251. Q2 dropped down a little bit to 54,289. That's some of your colder months there. So that's the cause of the little drop in ridership there. And then Q3 back up 62,429. And then looking at your average total weekday boardings. So July of this year, there were about 1,400 boarding every day in Farmers Branch. In August of this year, it was 1,466, and in September, it was almost 1,600. So pretty good ridership for the routes that we have there. Again, we're always looking, if we need to make a change or modification, you all see anything out there and you're like, hey, Ed, this doesn't make sense. You can just shoot me an email. I'm always looking at routes and how we can make them better to serve your area. So let's look at the rail service. So we have the Green Line that runs through Farmers Branch, and of course it's the Farmers Branch station. I'm out there pretty often. I'm in contact with Shane Davis. I know there's some ongoing construction there, so he's always updating me on what's going on, kind of helping me with the detours that I communicate with bus stops. And so you guys have Farmers Branch Station on the Green Line, And just taking a look at the total boardings for the fiscal year 24. In quarter one, it was 52,288. Quarter two, 43,202. And in Q3, 46,903. Your average weekday ridership at the station. So this is everybody that's coming to the station daily, what these numbers look like. So in July, it was 510. In August of this year, 576, and in September, 589. Again, the TOD there, I think is the great thing. I mean, I would love to live at close to a station. I'm blessed to be able to live about 10 minutes from the Northwest Plano parking lot. So I'm able to take a 308, but Farmers Branch Station being where it is, the location, I think is really great.
And sorry, those numbers are people that are boarding at Farmers Branch Station, right? Okay.
Right. Mhm. And so, talk about our rolling service at Farmers Branch. So, if you see here, this is the city of Farmers Branch in green, and then in the red, you'll see our actual our Golding zone for Farmers Branch. It's a 12, almost a 12 square mile zone, and it operates from 5 a.m. to midnight every day. Again, there's access for you to be able to get an Uber through GoLink. So that can be done through our GoPass app, or you can call the phone number. A lot more people now, over the last few weeks or so, we found out have been using the app, using the app. And so it's a very great service. It's an on-demand service. So, door to door. So if I'm, here, let's say here at the edge, want to get all the way over there, I can just, call or go on a GoPass app, book a ride there, and usually wait times are between 10 to 12 minutes there. So very good service, door to door service. So just taking a quick look at the fiscal year 24 total boardings for quarter one for our GoLink service. 9,920 in quarter one, and quarter two, 12,709, and then in quarter three, 12,539. So one of my, focuses for this year was to try to up some of that GoLink ridership, right? And so just looking at some target areas within the zone. So of course, your Farmers Branch station will be an area that most people will catch a GoLink to or catch a GoLink from, right? So, where are they going? A lot of people use the GoLink when they get off of, they may be coming from a train downtown to the Farmers Branch station, and it may just catch it home. It may be their quick stop to go home. Or if I'm, got to go to work downtown, and say, hey, let's catch a GoLink to the Farmers Branch station and catch the train downtown. So, very good use of the GoLink system there here in Farmers Branch. And just taking a quick look of the weekday ridership for July of this year, it was 268 riders a day. And then for August, 291, and September, 298. So still a lot of potential there for our GoLink service to again gain that ridership. As you mentioned about the bus stops earlier, like, hey, I don't want to wait in 105-degree weather. Well, I don't either, So, hey, I can get on real quick. Hey, let's get on the GoPass app. Let's book a GoLink, and it'll take you anywhere within the zone. You may be asking, like, why does it cover a section? It's actually grown from this. It was smaller. So we're always, again, adjusting, trying to learn, like, hey, where's everybody going? And so we looked at this area that we thought was, or that we analyzed, and figured out that that's where most of our trips would occur. We're, again, constantly just looking at it. So if there's a need to expand the zone to, cover these areas, then, that's something that we're always looking at. So, yeah.
Alex, can we promote this during the pickleball?
Next year, yes.
I got a quick question for you. So let's say that you're north of the edge of Farmers Branch.
Mhm.
Would you have to take a GO link to the downtown Carrollton and then the train to Farmers Branch and then another GO link? Like, let's say the apartments on Marsh north of the Beltline
Mhm.
and you want to get to Brookhaven.
Okay.
Would you have to do like a roundabout or would it take you straight down?
So if you're saying if you're outside of the zone?
Right, like let's say that you're on Marsh, but you're north of where that zone cuts off.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to go to the train and take the train over and then take it back.
So
It's like
you
an hour and a half.
have to be in the zone, to catch the GO lane. So if you're outside of it, the app might tell you to catch a bus or, maybe bike ride to get within the zone. And then you can catch the GO link within the zone. So it won't let you, take it out. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you take it outside the zone. So you can't take a trip. If I'm outside of the zone like this, then it won't let me book a trip. But once I step into the zone, I'm able to book a GO link trip anywhere within the zone.
Oh, so the zones aren't stuck to a train station?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, that's good.
No. So,
What's the fare for that? Sorry.
it's just like a regular fare. So day pass is $3, and then your full day pass is $6. So, your one ride is $3, and then your day pass is $6. So just regular fare, just like you're getting on a bus or a train. Same.
That's
same
what
thing.
amazed me when I rode. I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of the pay more.
No, it's the same. Yeah, same fare for all of it. So. So take a look at our paratransit service here. Now I don't do a lot of work with our paratransit service, I'll be honest. But I do know a little bit of information here. So operates on a daily schedule, basically the same schedule as our GO link, so 5 a.m. to midnight. People are able to book rides 24/7 on the Go Pass app. If they call by phone, it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's Monday through Friday, and then of course not on holidays. So just looking at quick look at the total boardings for this year. In Q1, it was 1,759. Q2, 1,707, and then Q3 jumped up a little bit over 1,000 to 2,863. So there should have been one more, but did it not go through? Maybe not. Okay, there was one more that had
Dark service.
total,
Infirmary.
the total service, yes.
Yeah. Couple more.
Just wanted to give, okay. Oh, yeah, well, just. So just a quick look at the total system ridership. So this incorporates everything, your GO link, your paratransit, your bus and your rail. So this is all the ridership for Farmers Branch area here. And so, in Q1, that total ridership was 122,218. And then a little drop, a significant drop in Q2, to 111,277, and then right back up in Q3 to 124,734. Again, that incorporates, all your services in Farmers Branch area.
And I'm sure y'all do all sorts of benchmarking and stuff like, are we kind of like, we're a comparable community, like in the same ballpark, or are we lower or?
So the thing with it is, it tends to, there's some differences between, the cities, and it really depends on, the routes that are, so you guys have 5 routes. Let's say, we're trying to compare you to Dallas, which has, it's kind of hard. So it just depends on, what services are there. But for your area, for the Farmers Branch area, it's a lot better than your, North, Carrollton. So you guys do well. So we appreciate you for using our service.
It's Silver Line will change.
Yeah. So, and you can go to the next slide. So I'll just quickly talk about that. So, you mentioned the downtown Carrollton station earlier. So that will be added to, the former Frank Golden Zone, once the silver line is, fully complete. So, you know, people will be able to, catch a GO link to, downtown Carrollton Station and hop on the silver line going east and west. So be able to utilize, both the Farmers Branch Station and the downtown Carrollton Station as well.
What is
it? Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah, so, and the ongoing construction, so what's happening, you know, in Farmers Branch, again, the ongoing construction at Farmers Branch Station, around that station, I know, I'm working, keeping constant contact with Shane Davis. He keeps me informed on what's going on and, you know, they've been upgrading the area around the streets around the Farmers Branch Station. So, you know, he's always just constantly in contact with me there. A couple of months ago, myself and Shane Davis, from the city of Farmers Branch met with Envision, here, that are located on Valley View. And they have two stops, directly in front of their facility. And they just wanted to talk about safety. They have some employees that are some of them are blind. And so, they just wanted to talk about safety of getting them, across the street to, their stops. So, you know, it's 4-lane highway. So, still working with Shane on that, as far as like trying to, you know, possibly implement a crosswalk there and just make it safer for them. So just a few things that are going on that I, you know, work on with the city of Farmers Branch.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very informative. I have one question that you mentioned. I think it was Fort Worth that had like a climate thing that they signed on. It's the clean cities or something like that. Was there like incentives that were tied to that? So like if X number of community partners came in, was it just like really good community?
For the climate action plan we did,
Yeah, or whatever.
The DFW Clean Cities.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, we submit our feed to them as well.
Okay.
So it's like a reporting.
Right.
here.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like, are there carrots that other cities have done that you've seen like?
I would say the carrots are what we see is, for the COG has, there's lots of federal funding around sustainability. So the more you involve in these different plans, or the more you keep your plan up, or you work with other cities, you know, so a lot of time in the COGS is asking you, you know, what's your clean action plan? What are you doing here? That helps them when they get, you know, federal funding to figure out who to include. I don't know if there's like direct incentives, but I know it does help like the federal funding. Right.
Okay, thank you.
And then just in terms of increasing ridership, do you guys ever like partner with private companies to provide that as a benefit to like employees there? Like State Farm, I know is
So
at
business.
City Line, yeah, working with them to like, that way, you know, maybe the private business would be willing to pay the actual fee for them to ride as a part of the overall compensation benefits for their employees.
Right, so we do have a department that work with businesses and try to do that, you know, so they incentivize them to either,
Just like a year pass.
yeah, so your path to reduce,
Yeah.
right, you know. Partner with business, so yes, we do have it.
Our students, if they take 6 hours credit, they can get a dart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we like it for stuff.
Work at El Centro, they give you a stipend, which is exactly the cost of a year pass.
Oh, wow. I would so do that, because we have to go to meetings at different campuses, you know.
Right.
Should we all try to make a commitment to ride dart to the next?
I think we should all try to
You
make.
can basically go like it.
Yeah.
Well, we could each like do different, well, but it's like, when I was looking at it now, so it's like 2-minute walk to the bus stop, and then it's like a 10-minute ride to the next bus stop, and then that's like another. which is fine, except for that it doesn't take me that long in my car. But I mean, it's not unreasonable. I mean, I've lived in other cities that public transit was more part of the culture. So it's like there's a bus that comes by every 5 minutes, 30 feet from your house, and then it takes you,
Yeah.
so it's when you get used to that, the system,
Mhm.
but it's like comparing apples and oranges. I mean,
Right.
it's not a fair comparison
Different,
because
yeah.
of the sprawl that we have. And also that is a unique hurdle to getting people on board with public transit
Mhm.
in cities like this. So
The culture for DART is the state fair or something happening at the American Airlines.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to pay $40 for
Right.
parking, so I'll go ride the train.
Is that the Q3 number?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming. and-
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you have Alan's number.
Yeah.
or Email, so if there's things that you can think of that we can support you guys on.
Yeah.
We're happy, we've got a big transportation plan and transportation in the works, so,
Absolutely.
We're always
Yes.
working also to coordinate with the cities when the cities are building bike lanes.
yeah,
That's something that we always coordinate to make sure that the stops
Yeah.
are placed and if we need to allocate this bus stop to accommodate the bike lane. So we don't have conflicts with driveways, things like that. And we're always reviewing those plans.
Well, I have one last question. You mentioned some of the stations have community gardens. What criteria are you looking for a station to have?
The community interest first. And this is sort of new to us, so we just sort of starting it, but right now we're sort of looking at, again, how much land do we have there? What would be the interest? What other amenities could we put around it? So those are the type of things. When we start looking at our mobility hub, we start looking at, what can we do with this area and what would help the community?
Mhm.
So it's really is based on a lot of community feedback, community interest, and what we think will work in that area.
One of the things we've been talking about is the urban, heat island effect. So whenever you guys are planning like parking lots and stuff, you take that into consideration as far as non-impermeable surfaces that you guys are adding in.
So I would say we haven't in the past, but we get large parking lots, but as we start looking at the mobility hubs and how to reimagine some of that space, yeah.
So I'll just end and say, if you do catch a bus or go link, or a train, and, just tell me about your experience. I left my card over there, several of my cards over there. So I'm always interested in hearing, I ride the system all the time. So, it has its challenges sometimes. And, I'm always willing to learn and grow on my part. I deal a lot with the bus stops and things like that, the routes. So I'm always looking to help improve in those areas. So if you think of anything like, hey, why does this route do this? I wrote it today and this doesn't make sense to me. I'll give you the best answer I can, with what I got. I want to put that out there.
We do,
Yep.
we welcome feedback, and
Yes.
that's how we get better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
this is a completely ignorant, like I have no one, because I don't ride the bus ever, but like I used to live in Oregon and Portland and they have, you can put your bicycle in the front.
Yeah.
So our buses
We-
have
we
that?
do.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I have seen the bike lockers at the station, but I didn't know.
Yeah, the buses have, you can put 2 bikes.
Okay.
I think we need a trip. We need a bus.
Yeah, go ahead.
One suggestion-
To Dart downtown.
One suggestion for the parking lots that you have, they're pretty open, in Farmers Branch, we have 15% pre-com. And we're trying to increase that. Parking lots that you guys have, I've seen a bunch of them. There's no trees, basically. There's some trees on the side,
Yeah.
but there's no trees. Two advantages of having trees. One, when you're parking your car in the summertime, it remains, it's cooler than it's when it's direct sun. So that's something that would be basically under your purview to be, start looking at implementing something like that.
More trees, yeah, no, that's a good point. And like I said, that is something we look at just in general, because we do have a lot of, right-of-way land and stuff like that. So, yeah, trees is something we are looking.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Feel free to reach out. We'll do our best. And I would-
Information for this.
I'm gonna have to think about what, we're always eating.
Not too far from the dark stuff, yeah.
I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Friday. Sure.
Thank you, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the usual business. Yeah, I know there were some comments about riding the bike. That would be awesome. I think we should all commit to doing that. I know I'm super interested in that go thing. So,
It worked. I did it for some of my athletes this beginning of this semester, and it took us 2 calls to customer service to get the link on and figure it out. But the Go links happened to be there in 4 minutes.
did she forget it first?
Oh, no.
They can have gotten started.
I'm like, what? Yeah, yeah. Come back.
She looks way faster than the rest of us.
We're all like, full on pad time.
I'm full of rice.
Yeah, noodles. Yeah.
All right, any other further discussion on DART? Or we're move to the next item?
I was gonna say, I don't see where it shows you the bus, like you were saying.
I dug and dug.
You have to zoom way, it's not, you have to actually book it before it shows. No, you have to zoom, if you're a little farther out, it won't show it to you. So like here,
Mike shows
if
it.
you start zooming in, then.
We're looking for this side.
Yeah.
Can you
Is it
show
like
any
this little?
one?
I can't tell.
Oh, that's like
Voiceover right there.
stop.
Yeah.
I feel like this is not a meeting, we're running long, I feel like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
be 10 o'clock.
yeah, let's, this is like on our, second later.
It's gonna be a 30-minute meeting, right? This is our homework, Jack, so.
16. and
All right.
Gotta make it. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're running.
Everybody, it's time to consider.
Consider approving minutes from the October 9th meeting and take appropriate action.
I move that we approve this minute.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes. The next is Alex, updates on sustainability initiative.
All right, I'll be quick. So yesterday, Lauren gave our annual update with Sustainability Committee to council, did a great job at that. So, and Elisa was there in attendance, but you can see her presentation online. They recorded the things, the meeting. So one of the things that council did recommend is if you haven't read the comp plan that was recently redone, just kind of looking at that again and refreshing kind of your memory on that. Because it relates to a lot of the things that we're going to be working on in sustainability. The tree giveaway event that took place on October 12th was a nice success. 200 trees, and we're already working on planting next year. Hopefully with some greater collaboration with some Arbor Day festivities through Parks Department to kind of grow it a little bit. The shredding event was the same day, and they collected 1.95 tons, so almost 2 tons of paper to be shredded and recycled.
Nice.
I presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission on the 28th of October about the Soul Smart program. I got some feedback from them, so we're continuing to work on our webpage to get a nice solar landing page put up, a permitting checklist that kind of walks people through the requirements, and then that draft amendment to the zoning ordinance that would need to be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission and then City Council. We do all those things, we should be in line to receive the gold designation for that program. I'll also be diving in on a few other projects, the Lead for Cities that we've talked about before. That's ramping up for me along with our greenhouse gas inventory for 2023. We did one a while back. It's the first one for the city in 2019. We're using 2019 data. This one will be 2023. So I will be very involved on working between SoulSmart and then those two things for the city. Our active transportation plan right now, the consultant is still working on the first draft. So we should have that by the end of the month. Obviously it'll come here for some feedback or at least be, sent to you. And then water rebates, 109 toilets have been approved and 13 irrigation applications have been approved. And our next meeting is going to be December 11th. That's going to be a real short one. We'll probably just have kind of like desserts, hot chocolate or something like that. So that'll be a very brief meeting there on the 11th. So if I don't see you all, happy
Couple of
Thanksgiving.
questions.
Yes.
I was not there, but I watched Lauren presenting. Good job. Omar and David Reed both asked a question on what are the savings. So I suggest that we calculate a saving
Mhm.
and send it to them, actually send it to the whole council.
Yes, I sent that to city manager yesterday and just as a quick one, I can pull it up real fast. On the toilets, because that's easier to calculate. Estimated annual water savings of that program is 894,000 gallons of water. So per household, that's about 10,600 gallons.
Seems good.
And then if you kind of calculate estimated water and sewer savings from that reduced water use over the course of a year is $103 per household. So not only are you getting the rebate, but then you're saving on your water bill collectively. So that information was sent to the council.
You sent it to?
Yes, so I didn't have that spreadsheet pulled up to answer that question that quick, but I sent it to him right after.
Nice.
All right, the next, Alex, did that also cover the update on the,
Pretty much. The thing I was just gonna point out, it's a little hard to see on this, but this was also included in Lauren's presentation to the council. So she kind of updated on the committee's work, but also if you want to dig through this document on your own time, this has all the recommended actions from the sustainability plan. And then the different actions that we've taken, potential future actions. So just good to review and
and there's,
Are there any items that have no action taken?
yes, there is some, a lot on like I think the waste side as far as, looking at commercial recycling and construction and demolition, multifamily. So those are things that we have some stuff planned for, or we need to kind of adapt to.
Yeah, okay.
So there are a few, but for the most part, there's quite a bit of action that this committee has done since the plan came through.
One more question. Have you thought of doing a dashboard so that these things are, if, for example, if you get to the sustainability department,
Mhm.
then there's a dashboard, so many gallons saved, so much carbon reduced, waste collected, whatever. Something very tangible so that the reason I'm saying this is because Roger Neal asked,
Mhm.
what is it costing? These guys are all looking at, just talking to Terry, they're looking at drop in revenue, the sales tax revenue. So they're going to look at, again, the next budget cycle, they're going to start looking at the validity of each of these initiatives that they're taking. So it would be good to start putting a dashboard together on what impact we are having as a committee.
And I don't know, so I've never done a dashboard before. I don't know the amount of work that it takes to keep continually uploading data. I do need to do a better job of marketing this and the savings, but I don't know how much time that would take me to do. And then, so if
Well,
we're,
you already just did that, right, to the.
yeah, but I don't know about creating
Like
that. I'm sorry, like it's a team of one and I've got limited knowledge, so
I
I
think
can
that's-
work with.
Yeah.
I can work with IT and see what the time commitment would be,
Coding.
but it's a balance for
Well,
me.
the reason I'm saying that, Alex, I watched it
Yeah,
and I was pretty surprised that you didn't have a number that you could give them right away.
Mhm.
Because that's pretty popular program. Two of them has the same thing. So that's important Because the effectiveness of us is what are we saving the city?
Mhm.
How do we market ourselves? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Understood. So I will look and see if there's any way we can get the dashboard going.
Well,
I
maybe
just, I don't
just,
have the knowledge.
just start simple. Maybe it's just focus in on one program,
Right.
Yeah,
one area, and just like figure out, okay, what does the maintenance of, on keeping this always updated do, you know? And how often do you have to do it? And then expand out. You don't have to hit
Mhm.
the whole plan.
yeah,
Just pick one.
I'm sure you get asked how much traffic the website gets
Cool.
oh, yeah, we have,
specifically to the sustainability page. That would be interesting.
okay, I can look into that as well.
I have the dashboard for the like city projects and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I know it's rather intensive.
Yeah, that's-
Because
yeah.
that has mapping components, that might be part of it. I just, I know that a lot of people use like, is it Microsoft BI?
Yeah.
So I.
Don't.
It's, yeah, I don't have an experience
Well,
with
is
that.
there
so I'd
anyone
be
on the
dependent.
committee here that does? I mean, we're not just here to offer suggestions, we're here to support, you know.
But no, I mean, if I get a dashboard, some sort of annual report card, maybe like infographic that has that,
Mhm.
but.
Well,
yeah.
I think we could present, maybe Alex to your IT department. This is what the committee is asking them to do
Mhm.
as a project, as a sustainable project.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but to Al's point, and also to the, like, last night, this council also said, tell us what you need. And also, tell us what it costs, what you need. Which to me translate is that we need to ask them for money, so we do need our resources.
Yeah.
And also, they're cutting the budget and they're trying to figure out what they can not, so it's gonna be a fine line between asking for more, but not too much.
Yeah.
And
Like if they were saying it's gonna cost this much because it's live data, then say, okay, forget the live data, we'll update once a month.
or
You know,
what's,
whatever,
what's every
whatever
6
that
months, or
would be.
once a quarter, or whatever, yeah.
Because I think, I hear what you're saying, and I think it makes sense, because if we could just say, oh, it's on our website. Like whenever they ask the question, that would have been like key.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that. I know what these guys are thinking. I can read them. They're sitting over there saying, oh, sales tax revenues are going down. So what are we gonna cut next? That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I think the information that you put together about the trees, about how much, you know, stormwater or like, that's a pretty nice snapshot of what that program offered. If that was like, how many trees have we planted? We've planted 200,000 trees. And then same with the water, how many toilets have we, because you said 800, almost 1 million gallons of water
Yes.
of savings, you know. That's a pretty nice chunky number that people appreciate.
And maybe that shouldn't even be necessarily anything related to sustainability budget. It should be marketing.
Mhm.
It should be a marketing comms thing, because it's not about getting the work done. It's about showing off what's been done. You know, that should be the cheap part.
And it's not just for the sustainability department, it's the city. I mean, the city's done investment.
I meant we as Farmers Branch residents.
So I have, so here's what I'm gonna propose for our January meeting. I would like all of us to take a look at this plan, especially the things that either not started or are in progress. And then everyone come with either one idea or two, if you're feeling real squirrely, you wanna do more, about how you can maybe we could either expand or accelerate progress on these goals. And then to Lisa's point, to like, what would it take to do that? And then I think to your point, and some other points too, like, what would a metric be? Like, what would success look like? And then we all present it. You can use a slide, you cannot use a slide, you can come as you are, you can do whatever. But I'm just gonna ask that we all come with at least one idea. That sounds doable.
Visual aids, apparently.
And
A visual
if you
aid.
want, if you can bring one, you can not bring one. You can wear funny socks if you want, whatever you want.
Bring a
You can-
chalkboard.
Work with a partner. But I think, yeah, the more we can think through, like, where's something that might be stalled, where we maybe beg, borrow, and steal from another city, maybe it's your own idea.
If you go to this website, they'll show so many gallons saved, things like that. It's just marketing, that's all.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not, and at this point in time, the constraints, the budget and stuff, so the committee that markets the best gets the resources.
Agreed. That is the big thing. Those who can completely show quantitative data and put it in front of them all the time are gonna get
Yeah,
what they need.
just also just for you, Lauren. When you're doing a presentation, it would be a good idea to, a month before the presentation is to run it by the committee, because I would have definitely put something like only 1,000 gallons saved or whatever. That's a pitch that you're making to the council, like, oh, wow, this is cool. So next time when you have a presentation like that, I would suggest bring it to the committee and get some ideas. Because the tree thing, it looked awesome. Everybody knows now that we are hot. We're a city that is hot. Right? So they're gonna be focused on the trees. Now they say, the next thing was, well, we've saved you this many 1,000 gallons. That's, when you look at 1,000,000 gallons saved, that gets people's attention. Okay.
Any other further discussion? Keep powering through. All right, receive committee, subcommittee update. So built natural environments. We have not done much since our compost, but I know it's on our plan to look at supporting grow zones and things like that. So we'll take that under our to-dos. Communication, nothing to report. Water conservation.
What you got?
Nothing new, really. Any updates on completion of smart meters?
Was projected for residential by end of the year. They were at 99%, when we last got, or 98%, the last time that we talked to them. They've done basically their main completion routes. They're just going back to the problem meters basically.
Oh, okay.
To go through that. So they were pretty far along on that.
That's something I'd be interested in pushing that out to the community to be able to look at their meters once it's implemented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was saying,
The aim was end of 2020 for all the residential meters.
like I was saying, there's people like me that just like look at the data and say, okay, how much water have I used this much? And then when were my big spikes and when was it not? And, try to calculate your irrigation usage for saving money and everything like that.
Now, let me just mention, I talked to Lauren about taking this commercial, water conservation, et cetera. So I started doing the research. Hopefully, I'm not going to be here in January, but I'm traveling, but in February, most likely I'll have something to present to you guys. How do we take what we are doing from the consumer level to the commercial level?
In my building, we do have a hydro point, which is, it's like a independent meter that tracks water flow to help us detect when there's leaks, if there's a large leak. So that's just something to reach out to any business that uses irrigation, has a high employee population, that kind of thing, to help them preserve water. The installation's a little expensive, but all they do is then they just monitor it, and you're on a text message system, something's going on. So it pays for itself if there's a big leak. That's just something that we can do to push that.
I mean, churches, I'm a treasurer for this church of mine. We don't even know sometimes the bill just spikes. What happened?
What happens too is,
That's 30 days after.
I was at when I was working commercial management a long time ago, one of my temp jobs, we got the water bill. I did the water bill every month, and then it was around $150 for this building. And one month it was over 1,000. Someone was going right up to the spigot outside, just filling up their tank and driving off. So and there were no cameras at that building, so they probably did it like 2 or 3 times that month, or 4 or 5 times that month, so that's just something to look into. And it'll notify right away if there's irregular usage.
Like, yes, ideas to percolate on. All right, the next item is update from committee members on activities attended.
We just had a big recycling event at Garland Center. We did tires,
Oh, wow.
paper shred, clothing donation, and electronic waste.
Big one.
And Garland City said if you show your driver's license with a Garland address, we'll pay. And then if they didn't, then we had to negotiate so we pay. As a college. They had some people show up and they're like, my business is here and that's how I knew about it. And they were turned away and they were not happy. So we covered them. But overall, huge success. We haven't gotten final numbers yet. But the numbers are definitely over 250 people show. So pretty cool, but I'll have good numbers for December.
What vendor did you use for the clothing recycling?
I will find out about that because at the college, we have our own programs, but Garland City did that one, but I will find that out.
And that was usable clothing, not cloth.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the kicker.
That's
The
the kicker.
textile recycling.
It's not the usable clothing, I got no problem giving away. It's all the stuff that is non-usable.
Ripped and
Yeah,
overly stale.
even if it's not like stained or oil rags or whatever, it's just like old threadbare clothes that you can't wear anymore. That's where I wanna know where to take that.
Cause not even Recycle Revolution takes photos.
Mhm.
Off the top of my head, it could have been Worldwear. We've worked with Worldwear before, but I will find out and confirm.
And the community on our campuses can come on Fridays and get food and or something. So,
How's the Baylor working out?
It's working all right. Here's a good thing, okay? So with the environmental services, which is like janitorial,
Something.
it is.
Okay.
It's an accomplishment.
Okay.
Sustainability. So it's an organizational goal to have at least 9 bales per campus. So that means they're gonna be, cracking skulls whenever the cardboard's getting thrown in the dumpster
9 bales per
campus, per quarter.
quarter.
So it's an aggressive goal, but they were thinking, like, there was a couple cases where they found cardboard stuffed in trash bags, stuffed in dumpsters. And it all came to a head and they're like, okay, like, we're gonna get serious about it. So I would say that's a huge win to be an organizational. Okay, that's it.
I'm thinking Baylor Bears. That's what I-
Oh, no.
Cardboard into bricks.
Gotcha.
Cardboard.
All right. Any other activities?
Lauren and I attended the Houses and Haunts event at the park, and that was super cute. And I understand that we're under Public Works, Alex, but I 100% think that we could have our own table with our own like game or something as an independent. Like, it was fine and it was fun and I enjoyed hanging out with them and doing all that,
Yeah.
but like the library had like this whole multi-stop little section, like, a living painting and a game. And then, like, I feel like we could have had our own little, with enough time to like plan, whatever, a game or two.
Yeah, develop some sort of
come up with a
kid-friendly.
bunch of-
activity.
Yeah, I think but it was great. It was super fun and
Kids with you.
the kids were cute and I did not see the human pinata. But it was a lot of fun and there was a lot of people there.
Sounds scary.
All right, I'm gonna move us to the last and final item unless there's anything more. Discuss agenda items for future committee meetings.
I think the main thing is what you said about the homework.
in January
And the commercial.
now.
February.
I think we
is
have
Dallas.
March, yeah, Dallas College of February. So maybe have you guys lined up sometime.
We're at Dallas College.
No. It'll be here, but, it'll be
Sonia.
Sonia Ford.
Oh,
Not Gary? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna try and get him too.
I spoke to her. He spoke to her.
Alex, I'm curious if you think that, you know, we have a couple of new council members. If for the coming year, it would be worthwhile to kind of give them the plan and like do that same thing where they like number the priorities.
Yeah.
Like Tina is coming on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, and then also David, the new guy, he's fairly new, you know, like,
Mhm.
just kind of recalibrate, like, what are their collective priorities that we might be able to.
Yes, I can look into that. I'm gonna say there was some issue. Joseph did it twice. The first time there wasn't an issue, and then the second time they were worried it could convey some sort of hack. So I'll check with Joseph just to see because he did that last time.
Oh, okay.
So I'll check with him just to see what his thoughts were on that. But if they didn't have an issue with it, I just remember something kind of popping up.
I mean,
Uh,
we're asking for direction. That's
Exactly.
what that's kind of like what the whole thing was. And it seems like with the other presentations, you know, and Mayor Lynn said this, like, we're not really offering a lot of direction. So I feel like this is a very like tangible
mhm.
select from this list. What are your top 5 priorities or top 3 priorities or whatever? And that way that's the direction. That's some direction without it being overtly.
And I would still like something about the timing of lights. Cause I remember as a kid at Janie Stark, we went and saw all the stuff they had to watch all the lights and monitor that stuff. I would love to know when was the last time there was an analysis of that. That was awesome. There's nothing like that anymore?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Well, but Lauren made a good point, but like the Waze apps and stuff take that into account too. So if you get better timing on the lights, then it could increase the traffic
But I have that on the list now.
of people going through.
less acceleration, less braking, still better.
Oh, you need smarter people.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that. That's, there's a thing about
I
it.
don't know, increasing the traffic, not the volume, doesn't seem like something else.
Any other topics? There should have.
Yeah, do we wanna, delve into what Joseph brought up about pursuing, you know, find out what the contracts say and
Yeah.
can we, because that's actually pretty logical and pretty simple.
Or just raise the cost significantly.
Yeah.
Just to deter them.
It's gonna cost us what, $30 million to close this thing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And if we're worrying about like a couple pennies per $10,000 valuation or whatever, then it'd be, this sounds a lot more important.
Yeah,
I mean, does it Republic control all the contracts? Like, aren't they the ones? I'm sorry, whatever the managing company
Yeah,
is.
Public Services, they're the operator of the landfill, and I don't know. I'll get information about the contract on what is involved with that is, you know, if they are required to take it from whoever, or if that was written in basically the ownership documents. I will get some more information on that, at least provide that during staff updates.
Okay.
Next time.
I mean, I feel like Shane is pretty open to like figuring out certain ways. I feel like if there was a way out of those contracts, he probably would have
gotta be a loophole.
already. He's probably already tried to figure that out. You're right, you never, but it's just a feeling.
All right, there's no further discussion. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion as the chair.
Oh, I don't know. You've never done it before.
Can she make it?
Like, you've never been the one to.
8:08.
We agree.
No,
We're great.
That's a good question.
Perfect.